This is Jennifer Penn's initial statement interview or interrogation with police shortly after her mother was murdered and her father was critically injured with a gunshot wound to the head in the alleged home invasion. And Jennifer was just read her rights and is sworn under oath to tell the truth here. And Jennifer recounts her day, and we pick up where the incident begins in her words.
You can't point the finger at someone else. You can't tell us to go off in a different direction. You just got to tell us the truth.
What I know.
Exactly. And do you have any questions with respect to what I've just told you?
It's just like sitting, sometimes like parts come back that I didn't remember when I spoke.
No one is, and that's the process. This is going to be a long process. This is an initial statement from you. We may, as you remember other things, you may be asked, you may want to come in and tell us things, okay? No one is going to tell you how to give a perfect statement. You just do what the best you can, given what you're dealing with, okay?
Suddenly I just heard my mom calling for my dad to come down, and that's when I lowered the volume on my TV, and I could hear the voices weren't any voices I was very familiar with, and so I was scared and I couldn't move. I just sat in my room for a while, and then I thought I heard them all leave the top floor, and I peered out of my bedroom door, and a guy was there, and he came at me and had string in his hands and tied my arms back and said, "I have a gun behind your back. Do what I say. If you do what I say, then no one will get hurt. Where is the money? Show me where your money is." A bit of money put aside from when I was waitressing, cash. So I showed him where it was, and he took it and put it in his pocket, I think. And then they pushed me to my parents' room and asked me where the money was there, and I didn't really know. So they kind of one was right beside me, blocking my way to the door, while the other ones turned over the bed to find some more cash in my mom's bedside table, in which then they dragged me down the stairs and made me kneel at the bottom, telling me to face down on the floor while the other guy had a gun behind my head, and asked my mom where her purse was. My mom kept trying to get up, and they kept telling her to sit down, and so I didn't want her to get hurt, so I told her, "Mom, sit down." They were trying to find her wallet. They kept pushing her down onto the chair. And then one of the gentlemen asked my father if he had money in his wallet and where his wallet was. So they took me, because I was next to the stairwell, they took me up the stairs to show them where my father's wallet was. But I didn't know. They had turned the room upside down. I didn't know where his pants were at that time. And then they had taken me and they tied me to the top of the banister. Just with one string, I could still move. I was afraid to because the one guy just had that gun. Next thing I know, I think I heard my parents going down the stairs. And my mom was asking them for me to come with them. They wouldn't let me come with them. The last things I heard them say was, "You lied. You lied to us. You lied to us." And then I heard 2 pops. My mom screamed. I yelled out for her. And a couple more pops.
Take your time. Take your time.
And I think I heard my mom say or moan or something, and then they did one more before they left, and then one of the guys said, "We have to go now. It's been too long." And then they ran out the door. And I think once they were out the door, I heard my dad go up the stairs, and at that point I had my phone on me, behind me, that I had hidden there that they didn't know about. So when I thought that they had heard them all leave and my dad ran up the stairs, I whipped up the phone and I called 911. But I still hadn't heard anything from my mom, and all I could hear was my dad running on the street, just moaning and making sounds. And that's pretty much what I've...
So what happens? Continue on from now to the point that the police arrive.
I was just on the phone with the secretary or the operator, and I begged her not to leave me alone, and that my dad was outside. I was yelling to him, but he wouldn't come in. I don't know if he didn't hear me, he didn't come in. I think he went to look for help. And I didn't get to see my dad at all until before I left the hospital just now.
How did you get free?
The cop came and he snipped the two strings off for me. I was asking them for so long, and they said they couldn't untie me until they knew how to properly untie the string.
Okay.
After Jennifer finishes her story, the detective wants to go over the story again in more detail to really get a timeline down and likely to see what discrepancies he might find. For the entire interaction, make sure you check out the full interrogation linked in the description below. Now here's where Jennifer describes the 3 suspects involved in the incident. The first suspect she describes is the one that she said had control of her the entire time and tied her wrists together and was supposedly in charge of the whole thing. Call him suspect number 1.
The only thing I can remember was him was he had dreadlocks.
He had dreadlocks. So can you describe his race to me?
He was black. I wouldn't say he was the darkest person I've seen, but he was on the darker side.
Can you give an age approximation for this guy?
Leaning along the ages of 28 to 33. He seemed to be the one in charge.
He seemed to be running the show? Did he have a gun?
Yes.
Did you see the gun?
I only saw the top part of the gun.
The second suspect, who she said did not really even speak at all, really did not have a lot of detail on him other than he was a little taller, a little darker, and was wearing a dark hoodie and face cover. The third suspect is really just a shadow with a, quote, Caribbean accent. Not much more information here either.
And the other guy, I'd say around 5'8".
Now the first guy who spoke to you, did he have any accent?
None that I could make out.
Was it clear English?
English.
Unbroken?
Unbroken.
He sounded Canadian.
I would say, yes, he was born here.
Who seemed to be giving the directions?
Number 1.
First guy you encountered seemed to be telling everyone what to do? This third guy who you're now describing, do you see him ever? Only as a shadow? Describe his voice to me.
Just a very, very slight accent. A Guyanese or Jamaican accent.
After the detective is finished, he does ask Jennifer to sign paperwork allowing investigators to access her phone records, which any innocent person would gladly provide. And Jennifer, she does. The interview ends shortly after.
And that the above-mentioned records are to be released to the York Regional Police for the purposes of an investigation of murder of your mum. I am voluntarily giving consent, and I know that you don't have to. You don't have to do this. This is you volunteering to do this. You may withdraw your consent at any time. I understand that these records may be used as evidence against me and may become any part of a criminal proceeding. Now, if you were lying on this, as a part of this whole process that I explained, telling us fictitious information, it comes back. Now the records can also be used against you. If you're telling the truth, really, point 3 means nothing.
Now, how did Jennifer do? Does she deserve an award for her acting? Or would you even suspect her of being involved after this? Let us know in the comments section, and definitely stay tuned and look out for the next 2 videos in the next coming days. And I really do appreciate you watching. Please again like and subscribe if you like the content, and there will sure to be more. Thank you.